dark green conifers to break up the scenery. Burns ran through the gullies, chattering peat water over rocks and churning it into bubbles that looked like the glasses of Coca-Cola he was only very seldom allowed. Every so often they would come across the carcass of some unfortunate animal, drowned and swept away in a spate, left tangled in roots high above the stream, as if the trees had reached out and snatched it from the rushing water. It wasn't the roots that had dragged this man into their deathly embrace, but the twisted bare branches. He sprawled high up in the leafless canopy, twisted into a grotesque parody of a body, so that it was hard to make out what was arm and what was leg. There was no mistaking his head, though, even at this distance. It hung down from a semi-naked torso skewered by the sharp point of a broken branch, features battered so as to be unidentifiable. Blood dribbled from what must have been his mouth and nose, slicking the trunk and spattering the ground. Good God! How on earth did it get up there? McLean looked around, recognising the voice. Angus Cadwallader, the city pathologist, looked like a man who had been roused from too little sleep. Grey skin bagged around his eyes, and his smile was tired. "Morning, Angus. Been burning the midnight oil, have you?" Cadwallader grimaced. "Don't start. I'm getting too old for these early starts, and I really don't like heights." "You want to go up and see him? Can't just let the experts bring him down for you? And miss a vital clue that cracks the case for you?" The pathologist slapped his friend gently on the shoulder. "Don't worry. You can go up and have a look after if you want." He turned away before McLean could respond. The cherry-picker was in place now, a forensic technician already on board the lifting platform. A short pause as the pathologist scrambled in to join him, and then they were being lofted up into the tree. McLean scanned the crime scene, pleased to see that, as well as closing the road, a wide cordon had been strung around the whole area. Uniformed officers were keeping the early morning gawkers away, although, to be fair, the frozen weather was helping. Not many people out and about, which at least made their job easier for now. Grumpy Bob had disappeared, no doubt in search of a cuppa. Heading to the road edge, McLean found a cluster of squad cars, forensics vans and a fire engine all parked in a line. Uniformed constables huddled around one large van bearing the Police Scotland logo. Chatting amongst themselves like school children in the playground, they didn't notice his approach until he was upon them. "Who's in charge here?" The nearest constable startled, slopping tea from a mug she had been warming her hands around. "What the fuck?" She turned swiftly, angry face rapidly changing to fear as she realised who had spoken. "Oh, sorry, sir. Didn't know specialist crime were here already." "Aye, well, some of us wish we weren't. Any more of that tea going?" McLean nodded at the mug, trying to remember the constable's name. "Here, have this one." She held out the mug. "I'll get another and fetch Sergeant Stephen over." McLean took the mug more in surprise than greed, although he had to admit the warmth was welcome. Less so the 4 or 5 teaspoons of sugar that made the tea all but undrinkable. He slupped some down anyway as he waited for the constable to return. The others eyed him nervously, as if he were some kind of irascible headmaster ready to hand out detentions on a whim. Was it his imagination, or were all police officers looking younger these days? "Anyone know who reported the body?" "Heard it was a dog walker, sir. Something about a kid, too. The sergeant knows all the details." One of the young constables nodded at a point behind him, and McLean turned to see the female PC return, a sergeant at her side. He had met Sergeant Kenneth Stephen before, most notably in the case of a spate of hangings in the city a couple of years back. He was a good officer, as could be seen by the efficient way the crime scene was being managed. "Morning, Kerry. See you're working the early shift again." "Aye, sucker for punishment, that's me." The sergeant smiled, then frowned as he noticed the group of constables with their mugs. "Tea break's over, you lot. I need you all working the cordon. Keep the public back till we've got the body down." McLean took another swig of oversweet tea to hide his amusement as the constables muttered and grumbled away. The female PC whose tea he was drinking made to join them, but Sergeant